You're listening to a Cup of Resilience podcast with Tamiko Drummond. Real topics, real people, real solutions.
Hello, everyone. Guess what? It is a Cup of Resilience time. My name is Tamiko Drummond, and I'm known as the Brand Success Coach. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to a Cup of Resilience podcast. I am super excited. Guess who I have in the building? You know, we already talked real talk with real people about real solution. I have the tax man himself, Brian Joubert of LB, the CEO. Let me get that straight. And whoever follows him on IG know he goes by Rich Boy, right? Or
yes,
Rich Boy, right? And Brian, thank you so much for being here. Please go ahead and introduce yourself to the people so that they know who you are.
Thank you for having me, man. I love this. I love what you're doing. As you mentioned, my name is Brian Joubert, aka Rich Boy, and we'll break that down because everybody think it's always about the lifestyle, but it's normally is more about my passion. So I'm a 25-year vet in this tax business, over 30 years of entrepreneur experience. I'm a world traveler that does taxes on the side. So that's that's what I always joke about now, though, because people say, "When do you work?" I'm like, "Well, no, I put systems in place, I put people, and when I'm grounded, I work." But that's how we actually supposed to run it. But I'm just that person that love helping people. Originally from New Orleans, this has always been in my spirit. Just being from New Orleans, we just a very hospitable people, and I just transitioned that personality over to the tax industry. And I specialize in business taxes, home ownership, real estate, and this is what we do, man. We love helping, we love enhancing, we love teaching, and so I'm looking forward to giving the people as much information as I can.
Now, Brian, thank you so much for that, y'all. Listen, 25 years in the tax industry, and when a client of mine actually told me to start following Brian, so it's been about a year, let me tell you, he blows your mind like with the information, the knowledge that he just knows about the tax game. I think he is always like, I see him on vacations all the time, but it's like he's always up to date on what's new. Listen, I always call my CPA. I'm sure they're tired of me because I'm about to go to Brian, right? And I'm like, hey, do you know about this? Because I don't know what you do with my taxes, but Brian Joubert said, right? So Brian is the top of his game. He will get you personal, your business, your family right with your taxes. So Brian, this is called a Cup of Resilience, and you have an amazing story. So I know you've been in the tax industry for 25 years. How did you know you wanted to be the tax man?
Well, I didn't know initially that I wanted to be the tax man. What I did know is I wanted to be an entrepreneur, though, because the longest I've ever worked one job was 11 months. So I've never really worked a whole job for a year. And I've been an entrepreneur since I was 13 years old. I had a shoe shine stand inside the Omni Hotel. So I didn't know I wanted to be a tax man, but I wanted to be the entrepreneur. But it manifested to that from being an entrepreneur. Uh, because when we talk about resilience, one of the areas I'd actually learned this business while I was incarcerated.
Oh, wow.
I actually had a janitorial service and a courier business. And me and my partner basically kind of split between the two businesses. And then once I got incarcerated, I wanted him to send me a copy of my tax return from the business. And I didn't really like what I saw because it was something that I asked him to do and it didn't get done. So my thing was I started sorting out a CPA in my current environment, and so I found a guy that really started looking over my paperwork, and he's seen the interest, he's seen the excitement that I had with going over it. I was asking a lot of questions and I was real intrigued by the process. And he asked me, he said, "You want to learn this?" And I said, "Yeah." But it was basically something that really fit my personality because I love teaching and educating and helping. Taxes is all about teaching, educating, and helping. The other part of it is I'm a continuous learner. I love learning new stuff. The thing about the tax business, it's always something new. So, and then I was a numbers person. I was that person that you would actually be in class. I would try to figure it out in my mind while you was doing it on the calculator to see if I can do it faster. So
Mhm.
I was always that numbers person. So really, it encompassed everything I love really about business, about life. And so I figured this was my calling. This was the perfect industry for me. And I jumped in and I just took it to a whole nother level.
That's awesome. And you certainly have taken it to a whole nother level. Now let's talk about we'll hop into business taxes, but let's talk about individual taxes or taxes period. What is it that people need to know? Tomorrow is February 1st, and
Yes.
I'm sure they're going to be calling, reaching out to your company very soon if they haven't already. What is it that people need to know or to get ready in order to come to you so that you can prepare their taxes?
Well, on the personal side, if we talk on the personal side, really just making sure you have all of your information in. Because what happens is a lot of times people try to rush out because you say February 1st. You know, keep in mind the IRS only just started accepting returns on the 24th.
Right.
So it's a lot of people that don't have a lot of information. So the one thing I don't want you to do is rush out, try to file your taxes because you got one of your W-2s in, but forgot about the little job that you had, forgot about the unemployment that you may have had for a month, forgot about the little independent job you did for 2 months. And now you come in rushing in with your W-2 and you got your statement from the daycare, you got all of those things, and now a week later you calling me, Brian, I just got home and I checked my mailbox and I found something else, and that's a big problem when people file this early.
Right.
So what I tell you is basically give it a few weeks and let everything come in because we do forget about some little things. We can work a contract job for 1 month and that could have been early in the year. We forgot about it, but that can impact your tax return.
Wow.
It can impact in some ways positively and some ways negatively. So you got to make sure that you wait on everything because this year, from a personal side, especially people with children, oh, I say children, they basically gonna see some big refunds. So I don't want people to cheat themselves.
That's good. So for you all who have small kids, good for
Oh,
you. Good for you.
yes.
I'm gonna say boo, but good for you.
I would say,
Never.
fellas, y'all better make up before Valentine's Day.
That's not right, Brian.
I'm
But
just saying.
um, so for the people who do not have small kids and have a business, right? So what would it look like for them?
Well, realistically, that's almost your only loophole. If you are an adult now, you don't have no kids. Really, it's not a whole lot of things out there for you. The only way you can pretty much leverage your taxes is two ways. You got to make sure your withholdings, you're having enough taxes being taken out. That's one way that you're going to pretty much circumvent the problem. The second way is have a business, and be able to write off the expenses that you use every day. This is what I tell people. This is one of the big loopholes that they've been around for years, that you using your cell phone, you're using your home office, you're using your car, you eating out, all the time. But if you don't have no type of business, you can't leverage those expenses. And just so happen if your business is a loss, that loss can help reduce your taxable income through your W-2. So if you're working and you have a business, it's a great way to basically have a legitimate business, but possibly take advantage of the write-off so you don't be taxed as much. If you don't have a business and you don't have no kids, right now, people say, well, I have my house. Only 10 to 15% of people now get to write off their house because of the new tax law in 2018. That whole process changed. So most homeowners don't even utilize their homes. So the only thing that you have now is you got to make sure you have the right amount of taxes taken out. And that's difficult because in 18, that form changed. If anybody has a job and have to fill out that W-4 now, you used to can put, well, I'm going to claim one, I'm going to claim two, I'm going to claim six.
Right.
that form is totally different.
It's
Like I
like a
have
foreign language right now. Like, what is
exactly,
this?
and the crazy thing about it is I get people have their company call me to find out how to kind of figure that form out. Because normally you'll go to HR and you'll go to HR and you'll tell HR, let me I want to change my withholdings to 3.
Right.
HR go in there, make the little changes on 3. HR have no idea how to fill these forms out
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, the form is foreign. It is foreign.
Yes.
It's tough. You really have to, you can't do it quickly. Let's just
Yeah.
say that. You have
Well,
to
you
read.
really got to understand tax language, to be honest with you. When I look at it, every time somebody asks me to help them fill that out, I always say, how do they really expect the average person to understand this? Now, you can read through it and maybe follow instructions, but
Right.
that don't necessarily gonna put you, it's not necessarily gonna put you in the best position when it comes to file your taxes, though.
Right. True. True. That's good to know. So for all the businesses that got all these great loans, right? And for the individuals who had kids and they're getting all this extra money from the government, is that something that you have to show on your tax return?
No, it's not taxable. We was in the office the other day investigating because the PPP is not taxable,
Mhm.
but you have to, from what I'm hearing, you have to report it that you received it, but it's not going to be taxed.
Right.
And so, one of the laws they changed with that is at first they said you couldn't write off the expenses associated with it because the money was going to be forgiven. But
Mhm.
now they're allowing you to write off the expenses, but the income, none of the income is going to be taxed.
Wow. Okay. So then, so what do people need to bring to you if they've had that and it's forgiven?
Well, really, realistically, just the amount that you receive. We
Okay.
don't need the actual documentation if you know the amount that you receive.
Mhm.
Now, from the expenses, because part of the PPP, when you got the PPP or the EIDL, you had to pay for office expenses, you had to pay for payroll, you had to do those things. So
Right.
now we give you, if you don't have an accounting system, which most small businesses don't,
Probably don't. Right.
most small businesses need to have something so y'all can make my life easier. But we do have a form that we can give you, and you can take that. It has a list of probably about 40 to 50 deductions that you can actually fill that out, and you can actually give that to us. And that's year ending figures. So
Mhm.
then we already know how much you pay for supplies, how much you pay for advertising, how much you pay for, payroll. The
Mhm.
thing about it is we don't need receipts. Don't come to my office with a box of receipts. I know you got your Nike box that you have with your receipts, but we don't do receipts, we do results.
Okay.
You know,
Awesome.
if you basically have receipts and you want somebody to pretty much get those together, we do have a bookkeeping, accounting system that we can work with you on. But if not, then we'll send you the form. You can kind of go through your bank statement. And this is why this is so critical, though, because this is why this is so critical that people really get this information, because even just understanding how important it is to have a business bank account,
Mhm.
because see, on your business bank account, if you use everything through your debit card or your credit or your business credit card, all of this stuff can be consolidated for you,
Right.
and it can be figured out. But if not, at least you have one house where all of this information is. So if I want to pull my bank statements and I want to see how much I pay for advertising every week, I have
Mhm.
that right there in paper form. And that's one of those things that the IRS is not going to dispute. See, with the
Right.
receipts, when you're keeping all of those receipts, first of all, when you bring them to me after you done kept them for a year, they faded.
It's faded. Right.
It's faded. So we can't understand none of the stuff that's on there. You can't explain it because you can't see it no more. And then the IRS definitely basically don't take that for an excuse. So that having that bank account, man, and being able to pull your bank statements is probably one of the best things that you can do to do a simplified accounting system.
Mhm. Now, what do you mentioned about accounting software? There's QuickBooks and Square, or some people use. Well, I don't think PayPal is an accounting software, but well, that's where they get payments.
Yeah.
What would you suggest a small business utilize, in your opinion? What's best?
Yeah, well, I always say definitely QuickBooks. QuickBooks, that's the most common one, which is still the best one for small business, especially do-it-yourselfers.
Right.
Most people who do bookkeeping and accounting use QuickBooks anyway. So
Mhm.
if you choose to do it yourself, you can do QuickBooks online where you don't have to actually have a virtual. I mean, you don't have to have a hard copy. You can do it online. But the problem is when people say, "Well, which one works the best?" The one you use. That's that
What if
that
what if you don't want to use that stuff?
Yeah,
'Cause
but then
me,
if you don't want to use it, then you get you
mm,
a bookkeeper. But see,
right,
the
right,
the
okay.
problem is that it's just like working out. When people have the equipment and they'll ask somebody, actually, you'll buy the new waist trainer or you'll buy the new waist thing, and people will say, "Does it work?" If you use it,
If
it
you use
does.
it, right, right,
And that's the thing is people have stuff but they don't use it. So again, all of them can work if you use it, but probably the most common over the counter is the QuickBooks, and
right.
you can do that online as well, because the rest of them like PayPal and Square, those are pretty good too, in a sense if you're taking payments through that.
Mhm.
And I say that because again it gives you a listing of everything you spent out. I'd rather you have that than have receipts. That's not the recommended way, but it's better than you trying to keep receipts and for the year. Then you got to go through and sort them out when those things do it for you.
Mhm.
But there's a big surprise coming when you use PayPal and Venmo and Zelle and things like that and Cash App.
What's the big surprise?
Oh, you don't know about that?
Mm-mm.
Well, let me tell y'all. All right.
Please tell us.
Well, now, like before, when you used any of those third-party payment systems,
Mhm.
Venmo, PayPal, uh,
Cash App.
Square, Cash App, like before, the rule was if you did over 200 transactions on any one of them, or if you made over $20,000, they would send you out what we call a Form 1099-K.
Mhm.
That Form 1099-K would have to be reported to the IRS because they would report it to the IRS and you would have to report it on your income because they would send you that form. So
Right.
you'll be on record. You'll be on record with the IRS. And in the past, while a lot of people didn't file money they got through PayPal, Cash App, because most people didn't do 20,000 on a single one of those.
Mhm.
Because see, you had to do it on a single one. So you might have did 5 on PayPal, 10 on Cash App, 15 on Venmo. So you didn't exceed the 20 on one individual one. So you never got the form.
Right.
Nor did you do 200 transactions on one single one. Now
Right.
you could have done it on one, maybe close to 200, but a lot of people took different payments.
Right.
So if I'm a hairstylist, I might have took a lot of payments via Cash App, but I also took some via Venmo, Square, all different things. So now I didn't achieve the 200 transactions. So I never got the statement.
Right.
They've changed that now. They went from 20,000 to $600. So
Right.
so you're gonna do $600. So you can already expect to get a statement from the government to file on your taxes. So that money is not going under the radar no more. And then the transactions went from 200 transactions to basically one now.
What?
Yes.
So
So
let me ask you about gifting because people might not want to bring this up. So there was a lot of gifting circles or whatever happening.
uh-huh.
I think was it last year? I think it was last year or so. So um, what is what can be considered a gift? Like, what's the highest amount that you could be considered a gift without it being taxable before you have to
So
kind of report it? Or I guess it's moot right now because you have to report it regardless. But
so you saying all of those people basically who did that are millionaires now, and now they trying to see how they can write it off.
they not, I don't know if they millionaires, but
So the Susu didn't
right.
make the
Well, I
millionaires.
don't even want to call it susu because
Well, yeah,
I'm West Indian, and so I
yeah,
know what a susu is. That was not
yeah. Well, they called it a little
that.
bit of that. They called it a
Right,
Susu, the gifting tree, the
right,
gifting
right,
plant, and all of those type of things. Uh, Realistically, you got up to the amount it changes from pretty much over the time, and the last I think it's still at 10,000. And I do apologize for not having that because that's something that I don't we deal with probably every 10 years.
Okay.
So it's something that I really don't keep up with as much, because that's one of those things. If it came to me, I'll research it. I understand it enough to basically now see what the new tax law is on it. But right now, it was $10,000.
Okay.
So you can gift up to 10,000 without having to basically report it or show any documentation on it.
Right. Okay. Okay. What is it that, because I know you have got to go, guys, listen, Brian, I tell you, he travels all the time. He is at the airport in his car, and he's about to take a flight. Okay. So I'm so thankful that he took this time out. So before we close out, Brian, what is it that you want people to know, or there's something that we didn't go over that you're like, listen, it is tax season. What can you impart on these people so that they know what they need to know, what they need to do for business, personal, whatever kind of taxes, since you are the tax man?
All right. And I'm going to talk on it a couple of times, but like I said, I don't want you to feel compelled to actually rush this to get me to the airport. I'm a serial airport rusher. Like I'm about to actually start a class to teach people how to effectively rush to catch flights.
Listen.
Because I've perfected this. So I don't worry about it. And like people are panicking. I tell people all the time, if you want to get to the airport 2 hours early, you might not want to roll with me. You might just say, I'm gonna just meet you there. And so I'm a professional at it. So that's actually my next job. So if anybody actually want to take lessons on how to rush to the airport, and get there effectively, then all right, I got you.
That's too much, but I appreciate TSA pre-check. I love that thing. But
Oh,
anyway,
it saved my life so many times, man. Yes. But the one thing I do tell people now, as individuals are getting older, your kids are now going to college, you don't have as many write-offs no more. Your house is almost paid off. The interest is low on the house. We don't have a lot of stuff. And this is why I tell you now, what you need a tax strategist as opposed to a tax preparer. And so it's a difference, people. It's a difference, because we want to be loyal to a lot of the people that we worked with in the past, and a lot of people we know, in the sense of they've been doing my taxes for 15 years, which I don't have a problem with loyalty. But the problem is, if you did my taxes 15 years ago and I didn't have a business, I didn't have a rental property, I didn't have a child, all that stuff was easy. It wasn't much that you had to do with that. Right. Basically, all you had to do was kind of put it in, put my W-2 in, calculate it. And even if I had a child, same situation. But now I got a rental property, I got a business, I got all these things going on now, but you never manifested your skills outside of what you was doing 15 years ago. Right. So now I can't be as valuable to you. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people now, have people, and they come to me, and I look at their documents, and I'll say, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Oh, well, now she said, or he said that, I didn't do that. I couldn't do that no more. And a lot of times when people are out the scope of your situation, they're going to tell you that it don't make sense.
Exactly.
That you shouldn't do that right now. It ain't time for you to do it.
Right.
And so this is the things that you hear when people are really not vested, as opposed to say, and I always say, it's never personal. It's business. If you got somebody you've been rocking with, and I tell people, and a lot of stuff, and I know this is a fact, because I always say 90% of the people in the audience when I speak have the best tax professional until after I speak.
Right.
Because 90% of the stuff that I talk about, they had no idea. They had no idea. So this means you outgrown your tax person.
Right.
And so if a person don't welcome you, if you bring something back, and I don't tell you to switch, right away. I just tell you to take some of the information I gave you. If it's on rental property, understanding why it should go into your business, the disadvantages of having it under your name, and all those, if you bring that back to your tax person and they can't explain to you or break that down, and then they don't give you their blessings, That's not a true friend, because they should say, you know what? I really don't know about that. Yeah, you definitely need to get somebody that's probably a little bit more proficient in that, And so that's the blessing they should give you. But if they telling you, well, nah, you shouldn't do that because it don't make sense. I hear people tell people with LLCs this all the time. Well, you shouldn't get an LLC until you make 50,000. You shouldn't get an LLC until you make six figures. And on the next podcast we talk, I'll break that. But that's one of the stupidest statements ever to me.
Wow. Wow.
Because if I'm losing money, it don't make sense.
I like that you said that you need a tax strategist, and that's what you are, because I mean, every time I listen to you, I've reached out to my CPA or my then CPA and just ask questions, because here, as my business is growing, I'm looking for certain things dealing with taxes, right? And that's not my ministry, right? So I expect, my expectation is whoever is handling my taxes, or my CPA, bookkeeper, whatever, would really be on my side to help me get whatever I need to get, what I should get, etc. Because I don't know what I don't know, right? And it's not just about, and I've heard you say that on your talks, it's not just about paying less taxes, but then they'll show that you didn't make an income, you didn't make any profit. And it's like, wait, well, how are we doing that? So how will this person then qualify for what they need to qualify for, right? If you keep on doing that. But I'm glad that you are a tax strategist. And people, listen, Brian, tell the people how they should get in touch with you, your company, what you can do for them, because it sounds like everyone needs a tax strategist.
Yes, especially as you get older, because again, you just hit on something right now that's extremely big. As you get older, you look to start making moves.
Right.
You want to make moves with buying a house, buying a rental property, get a loan, get a line of credit. You want to get all those things. But again, the way your taxes are structured is major with making those things happen. Right. Because I can't keep writing off all my stuff because I'm trying to get you a big refund.
Right.
Yeah, I got you a big refund, but I can't get you a big life change because you can't qualify for nothing. So now we got to come up with a strategy on how you can show some income to get those things, but still pay the least amount of taxes.
Exactly.
That takes a strategy, and that's why this is so important. But you can call my office, 678-213-1141, or you can find that information on the website as well at lbtaxservice.com. That's lbtaxservice.com. And for my older people, that's www.lbtaxservice.com. And you can follow me on IG at richboy, RICHBOIJUP1. So that's Rich Boy Jupe 1.
That is, listen, I don't know if y'all got something out of this, but you all need to contact Brian Joubert at LB Tax Service, because they are tax strategists, okay? If you thought you knew the tax game, or your CPA, whoever, bookkeeper knew the tax game, you probably have been missing out. So he's a wealth of information. He's always studying. He will always blow your mind about the tax game, because he is the tax man. So please go out to www.lbtaxservice.com. Mention the podcast, Tamiko's podcast, for a special, and he will certainly look out for you. He excellent customer service. He just bought a building, y'all. So if you're talking about creating a legacy, this is the man right here. Okay. This is the tax man himself. So thank you all so much. So much. Is there anything else you want to impart on everyone before we get out?
Yeah, because at this point, it's really about living your greatness. And a lot of our money that's stopping us from living our greatness is tied up in your taxes. Right. If you learn how to keep more of your tax dollars, you can do more things. That's from investing, from traveling, to purchasing the things you want. So definitely give us a call, man. And I'm not swaying you again, but I guarantee you it's a lot of people on here, especially when you talk about leaving people you've been loyal to because you don't feel like they're doing the best for you. That
Right.
hit home for a lot of people.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with looking over your taxes for free. So if you got past year taxes and you say, Brian, I'm not sure if I did everything or I did it right, can I send you my taxes to look over? I'm not swaying you to come to me. I do that as a service. I just want to make sure that you capitalize on everything that's due to you. The government has kept a lot of our money for a long time. So if I can help you get more of that back, then, let's do it.
Let's do it. Listen, you have been watching a Cup of Resilience podcast. We're having Tax Time Talks with the CEO of LB Tax Service, Brian Joubert. Listen, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Go back and watch the replay. Ask some questions.
Yes.
Brian will go back and answer it. You already know. Reach out to them at www.lbtaxservice.com. And we are out until next time. Thank you so much, Brian. Bye.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to A Cup of Resilience. Follow, like, share at A Cup of Resilience. At A Cup of Resilience.
My name is Tamiko Drummond, and I'm known as the brand success coach. Once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you.